We just experienced one of the wildest days in the stock market in a while. The index didn't really go up, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, but so many stocks, huge, massive billion-dollar companies were popping after news from the White House, after news from what the White House was investing in, and we have a lot to talk about. So let's get into it. Please read the disclaimer. So what was interesting here was we started out the day kind of sleepy, right? There were some actually assets that were pumping. We had ARM continuing its massive, massive run up here, up another 16%. And then we had Micron and we had SanDisk that were also moving. So we had that about 10% from SanDisk there. Micron up another 4%. AMD was down in the beginning of the day, but then AMD came up. Of course, this was after Nvidia earnings that came out, were kind of a mixed reaction to it. Nvidia ended up finishing minus 1.77% on the day, which is interesting because there were so many stocks that were popping yesterday, especially in a few realms. One was energy. You can see these energy stocks. Enphase up 17%, BE up 9%, FCell up 30%, EOSE up for almost 15%, SolarEdge up 12%. So massive movements happening yesterday. And it was not just that, it was also the quantum stocks. Rigetti up 30%, Qubit up 20%, Ionic up 12%, IBM up 12%. So this came off the fact that the US came out and said that they were the Trump administration. I'm losing my voice a little bit. The Trump administration is investing $2 billion in quantum computing companies and will receive equity stakes in return. $1 billion of the package will be awarded to IBM. Chip maker Global Foundries, GFS, and you can see GFS also popped around 15% yesterday. So GFS receiving $375 million in funding. The rest of the companies will receive $100 million each, except for startup Dirac, which slated to get $38 million. Multiple other public companies will receive funds, including D-Wave, Quantum, Rigetti, and Inflection. Trump's next big bet is on quantum computing. We remember their investment on Intel that was very, very good. And we saw Intel stock pop since the Trump administration invested in it. So it looks like the quantum computing might be going in a similar direction. And it will be very interesting to see how that all plays out. We did get news yesterday that kind of shifted the market itself. If you go and you look back at the price action from yesterday, you can see that there was a rise here suddenly, right? It rose. It was because that this came out, this headline, that expected terms in final draft of US-Iran agreement, immediate and comprehensive ceasefire on all fronts, all parties mutually agreed to refrain from targeting infrastructure, freedom of navigation in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz is guaranteed under a joint motioning mechanism. Sanctions will be gradually lifted in exchange for Iran's compliance with the terms of the deals. Negotiations on outstanding issues will begin within maximum of 7 days, and Iran's president is leading efforts to restrain the IRGC from overstepping on political and diplomatic policy making. The agreement is expected to be announced within the next few hours. Now listen, President Trump said that he would potentially give us an update on what's going to be happening, maybe a Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe next week. It is Memorial Day, Monday, so actually you need to know that because there's no trading on Monday, and that makes today even more important because it's the last trading day of the week, but also it's the last trading day until Tuesday. So many investors might be, a little bit excited to trade today because there's no trading for a while. Sometimes we've seen in the past when we have these shortened weeks, Friday can be very, very interesting and unexpected. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm recording this video actually a little bit early because it's a holiday here. But it will be very interesting to see what the markets do today and how the markets are going to react to what's happening. Now, the Japanese market so far this morning is doing pretty good. And the Japan's Nike added a huge number, market value, after lower than expected CPI. Japan's inflation hit a 4-year low of 1.4%, and the Nike surged. We've been talking a lot about the yields on this channel and also on my main channel about how the US 10-year note went over that 4.5%, and then President Trump started reducing a little bit his aggressiveness towards Iran, right? We're now seeing, and Japanese bonds were also popping, going to highs. Very interesting that their inflation is actually low, and we're seeing their stock market pop today. Their Fed has done some things that have made some people a little bit anxious. It's caused in a sort of the Japan carry trade that we have seen kind of unravel, them raising interest rates over the past few years, but their inflation is slowing down a little bit, and this is very interesting. Whereas in the US, inflation has been going up significantly, and the probabilities of the new Fed chairman Kevin Warsh reducing interest rates keep going down. They're basically at zero right now. Those are the probabilities, and actually the probabilities of him even raising interest rates are on the rise. We're seeing that in Japan, interestingly, the actions that have been done by the Japan's prime minister, the things that she has done, and what the Bank of Japan have done have actually been able to minimize inflation even with rising oil prices around the world. And of course, oil prices dropped on the news that the deal was close. We saw a drop here. You can see this is basically when I just showed you that the stock market was going up there. Oil was dropping here from 102 to all the way to 95 in a short span of, what is this, an hour? Yeah, 3 hours, 6% drop there for oil. We continue to see silver and gold pretty stable around the oil, silver around 75 and gold around 4,500 over the past 4 or 5 days. This is just where they've been. So it will be very interesting to see what happens here. We'll see what Tesla's going to do today, what Micron, right? Micron, after pulling back aggressively, Micron is up again. And so we're going to see what will happen with all these stocks. I'm telling you, a little bit overwhelming right now. Sofi is an interesting situation. We talked about the kind of double bottom that we could potentially see here for Sofi. It's holding the support level. So again, Sofi is one of these interesting stocks that have reasons why it's down right now, but could potentially also have this double bottom and recover. I know that there's a lot of more enticing stocks. There's a lot of more stocks that are running right now, and it's a little bit overwhelming. What's the next one? What's going to be the next asset that runs? Where we're looking at, and there's so many things that sometimes you get a little bit, flabbergasted. I love that word from all these things that are running, and you're trying to catch them all. Like it's like the Pokemon, right? You're trying to catch all the Pokemon. And then what happens is you end up getting in exactly at the top, right? That's happened to me a few times where I'm trying, I was like, oh, this one's running, that one's running. Oh, I'm going to get this one. I'm going to sell that and I'm going to do this. And what happens in the end? You get caught and the one that you were running after starts selling off, and the one that you were holding for a long time and you decided to jump ship from suddenly starts rallying as well. So you never know what's going to happen. You need to be very, very smart with this. As always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Of course, very, very important. We'll see what happens with Trump, if there's some good announcement today or over the weekend. And of course, remember that Monday is no trading day. So we need to be very careful with what we're doing today because it's one of these long weekends. Things can get a little bit volatile, just from my experience, because the weekly options are expiring. I think that there's the monthlies. I think the monthlies are expiring today too. No, I think they expired last week, the monthlies. So only next month. But it will be interesting to see what happens here from the stock market, and we'll see potentially where the markets can go. We continue to see all-time highs from the S&P 500. It's still under, right? So we had that run up, then we had like 3 pullback days, and since then we have 3 up days. Going into last week, Friday, and then we had Monday, Tuesday, sorry, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that were good. Yes, this is this is what the graph I'm looking at right now is the S&P 500 futures. So there's already a candle for today. That's why it messed me up. I was like, wait a second, wait a second. Right. So we had Monday was a little bit pullback Tuesday, and then we had Wednesday and Thursday that were stronger, and now potentially today futures are up, and actually pre-market is opening in about 15 minutes, and then we'll see what could potentially happen here with the stock market. Again, Nasdaq in similar situation right now. Oh, by the way, we didn't look at the VIX. The VIX dropped yesterday significantly. Remember, we talked about it getting very close to 20, and now we're seeing it pull back all the way down to 16. Again, anything under 20 is considered pretty bullish. Anything other over 20 starts meaning that the market is concerned significantly about something. Of course, if you get to 30, 40, it's extreme fear. But anything under 20, and if you get even to the lower teens, like 13, 12, anything like that is super bullish. I've never seen it in the 9, right? Under 10, meaning I wonder if it's ever been at low. Yeah, in October, December of 17, we were under 10. Wow. Yeah, that was a good time in the market. 2018, 19 was really good. Actually, there was it was funny because this was like euphoric here, and then we had a pullback, and it went up all the way to 50. In 2018, there was a sell-off. I can even show you that. Let's get another graph. This is just, history. History time. Right? This is before the pandemic, before everything like that happened. We did have here a significant pullback. There was a fighting between the US and China. They called it the US-China trade wars. And then the stock market sold off here in this period of time, and people were freaking out. I have a famous story. I'm not going to tell it now, about someone that invested in the summer when everything was looking amazing, right? And then the market started selling off, and he was really freaking out because it was the first time that he invested, and he around here we were talking, and he told me he's getting out, and then it went on that epic recovery, and then of course we had the pandemic, and there's a lot of water under the bridge already. But I always wonder about him, and if he would have stayed put and not freaked out, he would have been up. The market is up 222%. I don't know what specific stocks he was invested in, but he would have been up so much, probably. So I wonder about him sometimes. So we'll see what the market is going to do today and where it could potentially go. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, it's a new channel, so if you haven't yet subscribed, join us on this stock market journey that we have started together. Again, I do have another channel that's more, we talk about other stuff. You can subscribe there as well, but I want to keep this channel pure stocks. Okay, so if you are interested in stocks and in the stock market and in investing, this is going to be the place to do it. We're going to continue with these daily, maybe twice a day if I feel like it. Maybe pre-market, after-market, we talk a little bit. I can't really do during trading hours because I live in a different time zone and I have 3 boys, so it's kind of hard. And I do trade right during the day, so it will be very interesting to see what happens here. Again, subscribe to the channel and join us on the journey. And you can always smash the like button also if you don't want to subscribe. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.